in the gym and I'm very, very sweaty and gross. So I apologize for that.
No worries. I showered today, which does not always happen as a working mom, so you're good.
Well, you're a busy mom.
I
I get
am.
it.
I am. Yeah, I got three boys, and I have another one in the belly at the moment. So,
Congratulations.
yeah, we're
Amazing.
7 weeks pregnant right now.
Wow. Is this
Got-
it? Are
Yeah,
we
this is
done? This
done.
is it.
Tubes are
You've
not
done
even
your duty.
inside, they're getting removed. We're done.
I don't blame you. Wow. Unbelievable. Congratulations. So cool. Um, okay. Let me just go live on Instagram. Yeah, there we are. Cool. All right. What is the best piece of advice that you've ever received as a real estate agent?
I think the best piece of advice is probably like be aware of who you surround yourself with. Because I think like, getting into business in 2012 where there's like short sales and REOs and it's like a really challenging market. Everybody in my market was like, there's no listings, like the market sucks. And I was like, yeah, there's no listings, the market sucks. But it was like, if I wanted to be a top agent and change my life, that mindset wasn't going to get me anywhere. And so I really had to like edit my peer group and be super intentional. And like, I I just heard that thing like you never want to be the smartest person in the room. And so I was like, okay, like who can I surround myself with that is doing what I want to do at a super high level, but that also has their priorities straight. And so that was a really big thing for me. And it also was like sometimes like my biggest mentors, I'd never even met them. They run a podcast or, they wrote a book, but it's like that can be your mentor if you let it be.
Love it. And what's the worst piece of advice you've ever received as an
Um,
agent?
Yeah, gosh, there's a lot of really bad advice out there. Um, I think one of the biggest things is like you're like encouraged to buy leads. Like they don't tell you how important it is to like really get your skill set dialed. I know a lot of agents are like, "Oh, I just want business." And they're like, "I'll just take like I'll get leads." And like it's to me buying leads is like the easy way out. It's like they come to you, but if you don't have your scripts dialed and your objection handlers mastered, like you can't convert that lead for crap. And so like I really think like if I'm working with a new agent, I'm like, I want you to think of your business like the legs of a chair. If there's four legs to a chair that hold up the chair that give it a really strong foundation, that needs to be like the legs of your business. And by that, I mean like the legs of your lead generation chair, the way you're going to generate leads. And so I'm like, okay, database 100%. Every single realtor has people who like them, who love them, who want to refer business. But then the second, third, and fourth leg is different for everybody. And I think you really do have to try door knocking. You have to try open houses. You have to try dialing. You have to try business to business relationships and, all the different types of lead generation to figure out like what really resonates with you. And when you do this well, it doesn't feel like work. You're not like, oh gosh, I have to pick up the phone. You're like, cool, who do I get to meet today? So I think that's probably the worst mistake I made was paying for leads in the very beginning when I didn't have any money. And every month I was reminded of my bad choices because it was just drafting out of my account. And I was like, dang it.
Our guest today, welcoming her back to the show, the amazing Rachel Adams Lee. I'm going to tell you more about Rachel. She's a coach. She's a top agent. She does everything. She's on a lot of podcasts as well. And let me tell you more about her. If you missed her the first time, she was so good. She's back. So today, Rachel Adams Lee from Keller Williams Real Estate in Northern California is going to talk about social media strategies, including how to grow your following and beat the algorithm. But let me tell you more about her. She is a small town girl making big moves. She's a top 1,000 realtor in the US, multi-passionate entrepreneur, and boy mama of 3. By the way, she also runs 6- and 7-figure companies with her husband and lives life on her terms. She loves helping others tap into their true potential and build the business of their dreams. Fun facts: positivity is her jam. You can find her snuggled on the couch in yoga pants, hair in a messy bun with her laptop. She's only 5 feet tall. She loves all things social media, obsessed with having a healthy marriage. What a great thing to be obsessed about, and thinks Nutella should be its own food group. My girlfriend would agree. All right. So I want everybody to follow Rachel. She has an unbelievable social media following on Instagram at Rachel Adams Lee. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. Rachel, welcome back again to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I was excited when you guys asked.
I am excited always to talk to you because you just have so much to say. And the things you say, our audience really appreciates. So we normally go through and say, how'd you get into real estate? But you already did that. And let's just like jump into sort of what our audience really wants to hear is sort of what you're doing now. Because I think this is a tough market, at least here. I'm in Chicago, you're in Northern California. I assume it's similar-ish, where not as many listings, rates are still, of course, where they're at. And agents are a lot of buyers who are locked into a lot of sellers, a lot of homeowners. Let me rephrase that. Homeowners who are locked into like a 3% mortgage and don't necessarily want to move because who wants to give up a 3% mortgage? So you have just not a whole lot of inventory out there, but the buyers who are out there, not much to choose from, and rates are still high. So what are we doing, or what are you telling? You have, number one, you run a huge team, an amazing team, and you also coach agents all over the country. So what are you telling people to do right now?
So it really is like, it's not sexy, but it's like, get back to the basics, because when the market shifts, like I've been in it since 2012. Like there was REOs, there were short sales. Like that's what I started with. So I only knew hard. And so lead generating for me, and like it was a volume based business where I had to have X amount of calls. I had to knock this many doors before I'd get the conversion. And, I started my business doing door knocking and open houses. I knocked 200 doors every week and did 3 open houses every week, like every single week. And I was practicing scripts 7 days a week. So like, I didn't have any money. I didn't have a client base. Like I was brand new to the business, but what I had was like my drive, and I was super committed to like making things happen. I wanted to change my life, right? I was in a really unhealthy marriage in the beginning of my career. And I wanted a totally different life than what I currently had. And so that means I had to show up differently. And so what that looked like for me was, I hustled. I worked really hard that first year, knocking 200 doors, doing 3 open houses, and I didn't sell any homes for the first 4 months. So in those 4 months, I just remember like crying a lot, questioning my life choices, drinking a lot of wine. But then I was like, okay, what do I want this to look like? And I kept doing the right thing. And I think that's the biggest thing right now is like, you're going to get discouraged. It's going to take more calls, more knocks, more posts, more open houses than you're used to convert those clients. And when you stay consistent with it and you have really good follow-up systems, that's when the conversion happens. Because I didn't sell any homes for the first 4 months, but I sold 39 my first year. Then it was 109. Then it was 123. And, it's only grown the business from there. And I've always wanted to be a wife and a mom. That is like hands down, like my dream was always to be a wife and a mom. And so I knew that like when I got to that stage, I wouldn't be able to knock that many doors and do that many open houses with like a newborn, right? Like that wouldn't work out. And so I was like, what would this need to look like? And so for me, what it looked like was transitioning to social media. I wanted a lead generation lever that I could turn on when I wanted to work and turn off when I didn't. And, that social media has changed the game for me. So what I focus on now is, I have my real estate team. And in fact, when we're done with this call, I am running my team meeting. And today's entire team meeting is about database and follow-up. The not sexy stuff, the stuff that people are like, I don't want to make those calls, or I'm not saying this. But reality is, I did a deep dive into our CRM and realized that we have a lot of opportunities there. And so I'm going to kick my agents' butts today. And I'm going to talk to them about like what scripts what are they missing? Where am I failing as a leader, where we're not making these calls, and how can I best support them? And it might mean me just like getting on the phone and dialing in front of them and them listening to how I convert. And it's like, you have to be willing to do what others won't to be able to be successful in this business right now.
Yeah. And a lot of agents are probably a little bit mildly depressed, or they're just sitting on the sidelines. They're not making those outbound calls. They don't know what to say. Again, we talked about people who are locked into 3% mortgages. They're like, well, I guess it just is what it is. I don't know. I mean, I might be talking to homeowners going, this is a really good time to consider selling, because it's not great to go to a 6% plus mortgage. I understand that sucks. It doesn't feel good. However, things are probably at a little bit of a discount right now. Also, not as many buyers in the market. And, putting your home on the market is probably a good idea because it will get sold pretty quickly. So would you rather buy when there's fewer buyers out there? I don't know. It seems like a decent time.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like the biggest thing is like realizing that everybody, like, with it being kind of a stressful market, with social media, the real opportunity is that you can educate people, but you also can entertain them. And I think that's why my social media has grown how it has. And that's, all the agents I coach, I'm like, let's build your business around you, around who you authentically are, what makes you happy, what makes you tick, what you do on the weekends, like, and then creating really, really highly shareable content that people want to share with their audience, and it makes you a local expert, such as like the top 5 cozy coffee shops in Sacramento, right?
Exactly.
Like the 4 dog parks, the 3 secret hikes need to know about, like the 5 date night spots with a view. And what I found is when you create really shareable content, not only does the community share your content, and then they're like, who is this chick who's always providing such good stuff? Follow. Oh, she's a realtor. And then whether you need them, they need you now, or they know someone who does, like they start to follow in your world. And then they learn your other pillars of content, which that's what I talk about is like, when you're building a business through social media, you need to have 5 pillars of content, 5 different things that you're going to talk about. Like I coach agents all the time, and I go on their page and I just see like canned graphic that says sold, pending, open house, like interest rates. No one gives a crap. Like that is not going to build your business, and you're paying some freaking marketing company X amount of dollars to build your business. What I would ask you is like, what is your conversion on that? When you make a post, what is your conversion? How many likes do you have? How many shares do you have? What's your interaction? Because usually you have like 4 or 5 likes, no comments, and one of them is always your mom. Like, and so like one of the first things I do when I'm coaching with an agent is I audit their content. And I'm like, let's see what's working well. Let's see what tweaks we can make. And then let's talk about your pillars of content, the 5 things that really identify who you are as a person. Because DJ, like if you go on my content, you're going to see me being a wife and a mama. You're going to see me talk about being a realtor and entrepreneur. You'll see me talk about multiple streams of income because I believe in that. You'll see me talk about postpartum health and fitness, right? Like you're going to see the things that make me tick as a person. And the thing for realtors is like somebody might find you because you're in real estate, but they're going to stick around because of who you are and how you make them feel. So if all you're doing is talking about real estate, you're missing the boat. And the other thing is like, don't just freaking post like your open house or, like interest rates. You have to add value to them. Tell them the 5 things they need to look at when they're buying a new home that they might be missing. And like the key of social media is really in your hooks. What the first thing you say, the first thing you post, whether it's a reel or a post or a carousel post, like you've got 2 seconds to grab their attention. So like, what are you saying that's going to stop the scroll?
So give me an example of a hook that's worked really well for you, just to let our audience know, what you've experimented with.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could say like, like a great restaurant to try in Sacramento. Yeah. Right. And that's most people put a picture of the, piece of steak that they got, post it, and they're like, a great restaurant to try in Sacramento, had a good date night here. I would say like the top 3 date nights you need to know about in Sacramento, they're going to leave you wanting more. It's like it's the top 3, the number 1, the secret, this like, and for your listeners, which we can put this in the show notes, but if they go to www.rachelsfreebies.com, they, at the end, they can grab the like 20 free hooks to help them go viral. And actually, as I'm telling you that, I'm going to send a note to my assistant right now because I'm going to have her update that for you guys.
Yeah, rachelsfreebies.com is where you go for that. And I mean, Rachel is awesome. She's a torrent of information, obviously. She has all sorts of ideas, but let's unpack a little bit about what she said. The most important thing I heard was, number 1, authenticity. So talk about the things you're into. Rachel rattled off 5 different areas of her life that she's into. And one of those was postpartum health and fitness. Like that's something a lot of women, certainly after moms, a lot of moms can relate to that. And of course, business stuff as well. And being a mom and a wife and all of that. So this idea of just posting yourself in the gym, okay, fine. That's one thing, I guess. But again, the other thing I heard versus just authenticity is value. Like, what am I providing that actually helps people? Why would somebody listen or watch my content? What are they getting out of it other than me congratulating myself on a just listed or just sold? Yeah, okay, fine. I guess it's something. Maybe it's better than nothing. However, it's really just a a way to brag about how cool you are. And
Right.
I think people, like your friends get excited to see that. They want to see you succeed. Your mom, like you said. Other than that, nah, nobody really cares. Like people
Right.
who have other jobs aren't really posting about their success on Facebook about their jobs very
Yeah.
rarely, unless there's a public reason to do that. So it's funny. Real estate agents love to sort of brag about how good they're doing, and that's fine. I'm not here to say not to do that, but don't just do that, right? Like we want to
Right.
actually give people a reason to go, oh wow, that was helpful, that was worth my time, that
Yeah.
reel was actually helpful. And Rachel said you can kind of do this around anywhere, so she gave this unbelievable suggestion, which is so easily like, yeah, I understand, and then you don't do it. It's the key. She starts thinking about people who are moving to the area that she represents. What are the kind of things they want to know?
Yeah.
What do they care about? And by the way, things like where are the best schools, where are the best grocery stores, where are the best date nights, who's the best dentist, all of these things that people actually want to know and are going to figure out for themselves. They're going to search that on YouTube as well as online, and we want them to come across your content. And so you don't necessarily have to make it super real estate specific. In fact, most of it probably won't be if you're giving content around people like living their lives and what they need to know about the area. And here's the cool part about what Rachel's saying. You're going to basically reach out to a local, business, and you're going to say, "Hey, I really love your, floral shop, and I think you're the best in town. Can I come over and just do a quick, like 1 minute interview with you, and just kind of like show off some of your flowers? I just want to show it off to my followers, and maybe we can come up with a little coupon or something if you want to. But regardless, like I just want to promote you because you guys are awesome and I love you." The person's going to be like, yes, please come by. And then of course you're going to film it. It doesn't have to be super fancy. You just do it and be authentic with it. Ask them how they started the business, why they're so great, etc. And then you post it and you tag them. And then you say, could you please post this on yours as well? Of course they'll do that. So what we're doing is cross-pollinating with all these other local businesses. We're also answering questions that people care about, because you do want to know where the best florist is. If you're moving into an area, you probably are going to use them, right? And so again, Rachel's like nodding her head like, yeah. She already knows all this. I am, of course, just repeating, because it is so, what she is giving you guys is really, really gold. And it's fun too. Like you can actually make this content fun. It doesn't have to be boring. It doesn't have to be something that you think, just isn't a super exciting reel. Like, also, by the way, when people are buying a home for the first time, are they super stressed out about it? Yes, we know they are. So maybe come up with some reasons to help calm them down. Here's some things to think about as you're buying your first home. Here's some things people freak out about it when they're buying a home. All sorts of ideas like that. So anyway, Rachel, sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder.
You're good.
You are so awesome with all of this.
I mean, even what you just said, it's like when I look at anything that I create, whether it's a coaching course, a product, a reel, I'm thinking, what holes are there in the market? What are agents struggling with that I can solve? And then when I solve it, then I'm like, how can I then put a hook on it to get it in front of them? So one of the things that I've been asked for like forever, for like 12 years, is people are like, I don't understand how you get so many leads through social media. Like, how does it work? And so I just taught a class. It's called Systems of a Top Producer. It's totally free. If you guys go to my Instagram and type in the word systems on any reel that I have, you'll automatically get the link for this class. But one of the things I taught is like how you do a lead magnet, and what people don't understand through social media is like how to do it. So I kind of want to break it down, if it's cool with you, of like what that process looks like. So I just created, when I'm thinking about referrals on social media, I think buyers, sellers, like my local community, and I think agent to agent referrals. So a lot of the times, like the content I put out there is to help agents, right? Now, if I'm doing hyper locally and I want to attract my next buyer and my next seller, I have to create this highly shareable content. So I came up with a list of 12, and they're like the 10 most walkable dog parks. It is the like one of the ones that I just posted was 10 cozy coffee shops for entrepreneurs you need to know about in Sacramento. So the way that you do this is kind of how the flow works. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to come up with your topic. Okay. So 10 cozy coffee shops in Sacramento for entrepreneurs that you need to know about. That's my hook. I'm hooking them because they're like, oh, I only have my like 2 that I go to all the time. What are these other 10 that I'm missing out on? Then I took B-roll footage, which means I'm recording something without sound. So if people were talking, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to record something without sound. And with this one, I had footage in my phone of like really pretty coffee that I had gotten at a coffee shop. It wasn't even one that I was featuring, but it doesn't matter, right? So I have really pretty coffee on the reel, which your reels are 90 seconds or less. The ones that I do tend to be closer to 7 to 10 seconds. On it, I literally put the words, the 10 cozy coffee shops you need to know about as an entrepreneur. And then I paired it with trending audio. And so the trending audio is key, absolute key when you're doing reels, because what it does is you want to get it on the upswing when it doesn't have a ton of uses, which there's like a number to this. So you want to get it on the upswing when it's trending. And then you pair that with your reel, and then in the caption, that's where I educate and I make myself the expert, right? So I'm like, let's go snag coffee and like let's do a mama play date and go grab coffee, let the littles run around, right? And then I'm like, here are my top 3 coffee shops and I say like the name of the coffee shop, why I like the vibe, my favorite drink. Like you can go on my social and find this post, right? And then I'm like, for a list of my top 10, comment coffee below. So I make my reel, which is what grabs their attention. Then I need to get their information, right? I want to get their information to be able to call them and have them be my next client. So what I do is I will then have it's called an opt-in. Okay. Now I use something called StanStore. If you don't know what StanStore is, you are missing the boat as a realtor. Send me a message and type in the word StanStore, and I will send you a link on how to sign up for it and what it should look like. And I'll also send you my really high converting templates. So StanStore is something that every realtor should have. Why? Because part of the reason that like Linktree or Campsite Bio or sending them to your website doesn't work is it's like click here, then do this. They're gone. You lost them. With StanStore, I can have an opt-in where literally they click on it and they put their information in right there. I wish I could share screen. I would show it to you. And then you literally click on it. You put in your information right there and you get an automatic download. And what you're also doing with StanStore is you're getting the automation. So a lot of times, like, so when I host a class, I'm like, comment algo. And then, like a lot of realtors are using it in 10 seconds. You get the link sent directly to your inbox. That's called automation. That's AI automation. And StanStore has it built in. So it can host your content for you. It also is like a beautiful landing page. I got 2 listing referrals this week from my StanStore alone. And it's so worth it. I used to be using an automation tool called ManyChat, which is $45 a month. StanStore is $29 a month. And I have my template that's totally customizable. Like it's super cool. So I make my reel, grab the people. I say comment coffee. They comment coffee. I then get to grab their information. Immediately, I send them my download, my digital download. It's like 13 pages long. The first page is a cover sheet. The second page is like introducing them to Sacramento. So excited you're here. Let's dig into these coffee shops. They're the best. The next few pages are my 10 favorite coffee shops. And again, I keep the same format where it's like a really good picture. And then I have the name of the coffee shop, the vibe of the coffee shop, my favorite drink. And then the last page, I sell myself as a realtor. So the whole idea behind, but everything I've ever done, it's like value, 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 sign the contract, value, 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 follow me, value, 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 here you go, right?
Yeah, sign up for my download.
Yep. And so they get the download, they get the value, and then what happens is their information, boom, zaps over to my CRM. I then get to call them as a lead. People have been asking me to create this system and show them how it works for like literally years. So I do have 12 lead magnets, like the top trending lead magnets for real estate in every city available. So I'll give you the link for that, DJ, before we're done. But like it's changing the game because everyone's like if you follow these people on social media, they're like, I spend no money for my leads and I built my whole business through social media. And it's like, how are you doing that? They're doing it through lead magnets. They're offering really incredible value. People want the value. They give their information to get the value. And then, by the way, you happen to be a realtor.
Curious about when you create the content for templates. I have found really wonderful, cheap and easy templates on Etsy. It's a great place to search for if you're looking for, even if you're just looking for a buyer presentation template, but you
Yeah.
can find templates there. I'm curious where you find your templates.
I create them. I create them
She
from
makes
scratch.
them herself, even better.
Yeah, because this is the thing. Like, yes, you can get an Etsy template for cheap for sure, but they usually don't specialize in social media and knowing the hooks. That's what's going to stop the scroll. So, like, it'll be very generic, and other people are going to use it. So, if you do use Etsy, by all means, but you have to edit the crap out of that thing. Mine are already edited for converting because this is what I do for a living, right? So, like, I think I use Canva for everything. So like when you get them from me, you'll get a Canva link and you edit it and you take out my information and pop yours in. And then you have the whole system, like the flow of like, okay, I've got the, I'm going to create my reel, then I'm going to have my opt-in page, then it's going to send them the download, then it comes to my CRM, and now I have a lead.
So a lot of agents who produce content on social media understand the value piece, right? They're like, okay, I know I need to say something that's useful or helpful for people, but they miss the last piece, which is the soft close or the soft ask, right?
Yeah.
So now the additional step is, and I want to give you something else. Here's how to get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think like for me, it always has been like add value, build the relationship. Cause like even, you know, a lot of people are like, Rachel, I have all these friends on Facebook. I have all these friends on Instagram and followers. Like, how do I convert that to a client? And I'm similar with how I do it. Is like, I want to build a relationship. I want to build rapport. And then we transition to business. So like DJ, if you are connecting with me on social, whether you're liking my content or you're commenting on mine, I'm going to look at your page before I respond to you, and I'm going to see what's happening in your world. And maybe your daughter just graduated from kindergarten or high school, right? Or you just got back from a trip to Alaska. Like, I'm going to reach out to you and be like, hey, DJ, thanks so much for connecting with me on my anniversary post. We had the best time in Tahoe. Oh my gosh, I saw your daughter just graduated from kindergarten. What a huge milestone for you and your family. Do you guys have any plans coming up for the rest of spring? And I always use whatever season we're in because it's easy for me. I'm a systems girl, so like I have a system for it. Shocking. But like then what happens is DJs, you and I are going to go back and forth. And in the beginning, we were just like, you commented on something. Usually that's it. But if you do this well, like a lot of people are like, I want to do social media. So they make a post and then they're like, what the heck? My business didn't grow. You don't get the business you don't ask for. It's not set it and forget it. You have to lead generate on social media. So for me, when I'm generating leads, I do a 2-hour lead gen block and I'm clicking on likes. I'm responding to comments, but I'm building these relationships in the DMs. I'm sending you private messages, getting to know you, and you and I are going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And when the transition feels good, I'm going to say, gosh, DJ, I feel like we've really aligned so much in our personal lives, which makes me think we'd align in our business lives as well. I don't have a great referral partner in Chicago. Do you have one in Northern California? Right. And then that's over 100 referrals every single year for us. And this is the way we do it.
So you're first going into someone's social media to research and development, to basically see what they're up to, what are they into, what's going on in their lives. You're then commenting, liking, and engaging with their content, which everybody loves, feels good. And then you're also taking a next step as in private DMs, and you're saying you're commenting on that content again, like, hey, just saw you went to Cancun, like I'd love to hear about it, that kind of thing.
Totally. Exactly. Yep. You always lead with them, and then they're going to ask about you, and you go back and forth till it feels good. And then you transition to business when it's right. And then you go back to personal because you want to build a relationship with this person.
I love that.
Yeah.
Gosh, you make it so simple, but it's not simple. Well, it is simple. It's not easy, right? It's simple, but it's a lot of hard work because again, it's not just about making videos. It's about making videos with a purpose, with an intent. You have to do two things. As Rachel said, you have to, first of all, entertain, give people value, give them a reason to want to continue to watch your content. And then you have to ask them for something at the end that is even of higher value. So, Rachel's going to talk about this idea of having the top 10 coffee places in Sacramento, the top 10 baristas or whatever. And then she's going to say, I've got this awesome download that'll, go ever here, and sign up. And then she's also, then she can obviously follow up with those people indefinitely. And I want to talk about open houses. Let's switch just a little bit to open houses. How do you do open houses?
Every single person who joins my team, open houses are a non-negotiable part of their business. In fact, when they join, we set the expectation that we do 2 open houses every weekend. And, obviously I want them to take a weekend off and have like some balance in their world. Right. But when I started, I did Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday was always 3 to 7. Saturday and Sunday was always 11 to 2. Those are the times that worked for me. I could still get church in. Like that was what my world looked like. So when I'm doing an open house, I'm going to have a few things to it. I'm going to search the open house and I'm going to make sure that the one I'm hosting open matches the price point of my goals. Like in the beginning, I was just like, let me take any open house. Like I was desperate, right? Now that I'm a little further on in my career, I make sure the price point matches my goals and ideally the location I want to be doing business in, right? Um, and then once I pick the open house, I make sure that on social media, I'm really intentionally like building some buzz and excitement. And I'll literally post a video and I'm like, hey guys, I'm here at 123 Main Street. Take a look at these beautiful mature trees in this neighborhood, show it around. I'm like, okay, so this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, 1,740 square feet. It's got a pool. It's 1 story. You guys, corner a lot. Like it does not get better than this. I'm going to show you all around the kitchen. So I take them inside. I show them the kitchen. And I'm like, okay, now the one thing you're going to freak out about is the primary bedroom. Like this closet, you guys, is of my freaking dreams. Actually, why don't you just come see me from 12 to 3 on Saturday and I'll take you there myself, right? And so it's like you hook them, right? You give them a little teaser and you hook them. Then I always do a reel for my open house. And then, it's really about building that rapport in the open house. And, like I always show people in my stories, like, all right, guys, we have an open house today. Like, let's get ready. Here's my outfit of the day, grab our coffee, little things. Like you think they don't care, but they freaking care. And they're totally watching you and they don't understand what life is like as a realtor. So we want to show them what it's like in our world doing this for the day. And it really goes over super well.
And you're also doing it during times when most people aren't working. So it's even better. They have more of an opportunity to actually observe your content. So
Yeah.
I assume you probably go live during the open house as well, maybe at the beginning or just a little, hey, I'm here. I'm curious, what do you do once the
Yeah,
open house
lives are
ends?
really good because when you have people that are engaging on your content, it's literally going to ping them and be like, hey, Rachel's live right now. And then you're like, oh, what's she doing? Right. And what I found too with like open houses is the quality of the questions you ask. Like and going in being like, I'm going to get a good lead from this open house. For me, I didn't care. So I host my open houses for 3 hours. I don't believe in 2-hour. I do 3-hour open houses. And if I got one good lead, the day was worth it. That's how my world works. One good lead in the day is worth it,
Absolutely.
And
And
it makes a difference.
so let's say you get one good lead or more. What then? When do you call that person next? Do you call them? Do you text them? What's your process?
So I don't believe in leaving the open house till my lead generation is done. So if somebody if I met someone at open house, I'm literally going to send them a video like with my phone out, like when I'm either in my car or in the house. I'm like, hey DJ, it was so good to meet you at 123 Main Street.
Love it.
Like we chatted about you looking for, a 4-bedroom home. I know that, this house wasn't the one for you. I want to let you know that when I get home tonight, I'm going to be setting up your custom portal. I know you said you still have to get approved for a loan. So like, I fully get that. I'm also going to shoot you over my lender contact we talked about. After you get the portal, I'll send you another text tonight, just letting you know you got it. Anyways, hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I'll be in touch. So I do video text messages every single time after an open house, every single time, because the video, they're going to other open houses, they're grabbing lunch, they forgot you. The second they walk out of that house, they forgot you. But if you build good rapport with them and then you send them a video, they're going to remember you. They're going to remember what you look like. And I like to be really intentional with writing down something specific we talked about in their life. So I reference that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then if I send that to them on a Saturday, I'll be following up on a Monday. If I met them on Sunday, I'll follow them up on a Monday. And then I just put them on like my follow-up system. And it works really, really well. I do have an 18-minute video on YouTube that walks through my entire open house system and the 4 questions I asked to convert a buyer at an open house. Because I met a buyer at one of my open houses, a listing that I had on a Friday. They were 1.75 million. I converted them. And on the next, on that following Saturday, we had them in contract. And it was funny because they were selling their house in the Bay Area and then moving to Sacramento. And they told their realtor, like, oh, we found a house we want to buy. She's like, oh my gosh, I can find you a realtor. They're like, no, we met one at an open house. And they were like, no, like, I have somebody better for you. They're like, nope, we found her, we want her. And they literally were like, what do we need to sign to work with you?
Wow.
And it was because of the quality of the conversation I had with them. Sure. I don't believe in pressuring people at open houses. I like when they walk in, I'm like, hey, my name's Rachel. Here's the flyer. Let me give you the lay of the land. And then I'm like, how'd you hear about the open house? Like, have you written any offers? Are you working with a realtor? What's your world look like right now? And then I'm like, in the beginning, I'm just like, let me give you a lay of the land. And then I tell them to go tour. And then when they
Yeah.
come back through the kitchen where I'm usually standing, that's when I hook them and I ask all the questions.
I love that. I love that. Boy, you just said so much. I love the video message before you leave for the day in the property or in the house or in the car on the way. What percentage of agents who are doing open houses in your area are doing video messages from inside the house or outside the house after the open house is over? What do you think?
Probably no one except my real estate team because I'm training them to do it.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's not common practice, and yet it converts. Like, we have a 92% acceptance rate for buyers offers. We are a top team in the freaking country for a reason. And I think it's because like our systems, our follow-up, our lead generation, our social media, like, I never would have considered myself a systems girl until I wanted to build a business. But you can't just like wing it if you want to build a business. You have to treat your business like a professional because you are a professional realtor. So you just have to act like it.
You know what I've not heard you say anything about today is inventory's down, rates are up. You haven't mentioned that at all because, I mean, I'm sure it affects you. Obviously, it affects all of us, but you're focused on what you can control, which is your lead gen. And you're just focused on lead gen. Lead gen solves all problems.
I don't care what's happening in the market. My clients care, so I care for them, but I'm also solution based. So what solutions can I offer to help make their world better?
So well said. So it's mindset.
It's all mindset. This business is hard. Like it will chew you up and spit you out. That's why I talked about like who you surround yourself with. Like I've had people on my team that are like super negative. They don't get to stay on my team. Like I have to be really intentional with what I allow around me because I influence a lot of people and I'm supporting a lot of people in my coaching world and my real estate world, like my kids, right? Like I don't want to come home with like crappy energy because I hung around like crap people all day. Like I want to have good positive conversations that move the needle forward. And like this is a hard business and you do have to work harder right now than you did, during pandemic when you could close your eyes and deals just flow to you, right? Like this is a harder market. And so having these conversations of like what's missing in your business, what do you need right now, like that's literally after we're done here, this is a conversation I'm gonna have with my real estate team. It's like what's happening in your world, what's missing, how can I help you, because I want to give them the tools. Now we have the tools for them, they just have to be willing to plug in. That's the thing that most people aren't willing to do is the work. That's it. That's why realtors aren't successful or they get out of the business because they're not willing to do the work that it takes to be successful. But like I didn't want to knock all those doors. I didn't want to do all those open houses. Like, what I like about social media is like, I can, like, I told you early before we recorded, but like, I don't shower every day. Like I have 3 little kids under 5 and I'm pregnant. Like showering is not a need every day for me. And on a day that I shower, I will bring in 3 or 4 outfits. I will record all my videos, me sipping coffee, me typing on a computer, me walking through towards the phone on my cell phone. Like, and then I have my content for the week and then I can post when it's convenient for me. So like, I like social media because I can do it around my terms.
Yeah. Oh boy. That just makes so much sense. I'm curious about offers because you have systems for everything. What is your one tip for writing an offer that's going to get noticed and hopefully accepted?
The number one thing I would say is call the agent. Call the agent ahead of time and build rapport and be like, hey, my clients really love 123 Main Street. I'm curious what a perfect offer looks like to you. How many offers do you have? When you're presenting, does your client need a rent back? Who do you have title and escrow open with? Like, is there anything else I could do to make our offer stand out? And so having that conversation I never, ever, ever, ever submit an offer without having that conversation. And you wouldn't on my team either. You wouldn't be on my team. Like our training is such that you're not going to mess up my acceptance rate. Like we're only going to increase it because our clients count on it. Like I just closed on a house 2 days ago and the agent or the client that worked with me, like they bought a house previously and they had to write 6 offers. And so I prepared them. I said, this is a funky market. Like, so we will do our absolute best to get your offer accepted. And it might take a couple to get the house. And she goes, no problem. It took me 6 last time. I'm prepared for that. But I also like to set the expectation and then blow them away. So we wrote one offer, we got our offer accepted. And she was like, oh my gosh, like this is insane. But it also was like, I don't ever sit down with someone. So this is another thing right now, this very second, I'm selling my parents' house, my own parents. And do you want to know what I did with my own parents? I sat down and I did a listing presentation with them.
I love it.
It's like
Why
so
not?
many people, they skip this. They're like, oh, it's my friend, it's my brother, it's my cousin, it's my whatever. And then they do a crappy job doing the service because they're like, oh, I can wing it.
Yeah.
No, this is what you can expect from me. This is what I expect from you. This is how the marketing goes. This is the day you're going to go live. These are the updates you're going to receive. My parents receive a Tuesday update from me exactly the same with all of my clients because they are my clients. And I think people forget that we're professional. They stop acting like we're professional, and then bad stuff happens.
I love
it. That's why people don't work with their friends and their family, is because they're not treating them like a professional and they feel that. So what if you treat your family or your friend like your most important client, because they're the ones who could be your biggest raving fan.
Right. I love that. That is such a great tip that nobody has ever shared in 7 years of doing the show. Is when you are lucky enough to have close people, friends and family who choose you, and let's treat them exactly the same as you would your very best client that you earned and worked hard to receive. Yeah, really great point, because that will only, number one, it will only deepen the relationship you have with those people, because they're like, wow, she's taking this really seriously. She's not acting as my daughter. She's acting as my partner here to help me close this. I also wanted to go back just really quickly to when you were talking about calling prior to submitting an offer.
Yeah.
Let's flip that around. On the listing side, what percentage of the time do you get phone calls from agents before they submit offers?
It's such a good question, and it's very rare, and it blows my mind because I never would do it. I would never submit an offer without talking to the agent, and I get offers, and like the worst ones, the ones that just like forward you a DocuSign. Are you freaking joking me? Like, get out of the industry. Like, it's just so weird. So it's much less. I will tell you, it is much less people calling me when they submit an offer versus me calling them. But the ones who do call me, those are the ones I want to work with, because I'm like, they're taking their job seriously. They're doing the steps they need to do to get their offer accepted. And the other thing you have to think about is like, that's their first impression of what it's like working with you. So if their first impression of what it's like working with you is you built rapport, then you called them, then you had your lender call them to say how solid your buyers were. Like, then they get your offer and all the initials are there. There's no missing dates. Like, you're like, okay, this is a really good agent. Like, this is probably going to be a good experience working with them.
Boy, you look, I'm blown away, because you have given us all meat, no fat in this episode. This is unreal.
I feel like we like boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, I apologize. That's usually the wrong metaphor to use. But it is an unbelievable episode. Rachel Adams Lee there's a reason we bring her back, and we should keep bringing her back, because she's actually, well, we all know she's that good. She just earned her. And by the way, this is how she shows up for a podcast. Think about all of the value she provided. This is her second time on the show, by the way. So this is how I can tell you, I've done 600 plus of these episodes. The vast majority of the time, when I interview somebody, and I'm not putting any blame on my guests, I'm honored to have them, and it's my job to make them interesting. This is the easiest interview I've ever done, because Rachel's like, here's what you need to do, everybody. Here's what I do. Here's what's working for my team. And she doesn't hide it behind a paywall. She's just kind enough to share it with you because it works. And she also knows most of you aren't going to likely do it. Because now, you should do it, and you can do it, and you should, let's do it. But Rachel is the most amazing, one of our most amazing guests we've ever had. I want everybody to do her a favor. Let's follow her on, in fact, you're doing yourself a favor. I want you to follow her on Instagram, Rachel Adams Lee. She has almost 50,000 followers there. There's a reason for that. She didn't buy them, by the way. These are people she's earned, and there's a reason she's earned them, and it's the same reason why she's back on the show. And this is back. Well, this will probably hit 50,000 downloads, I'm sure, on this episode, just because of all the great content on here. So do her a favor. I also
going to make or break your episode, your hook, what you title it. That's the thing. So like, you also want to make sure what you're titling these are like the hole that's missing for them, right? Like, so I don't know what our last one was titled, but message me before you post it, and we'll figure out the best hook for this, because that's the thing. Like, I don't care if you're sending an email. I don't care if you're doing a podcast. I don't care if you're doing a reel or posting. Like, the quality of your hooks what is going to get people to choose to spend their time on this episode versus something else. Like that's your make or break.
Yeah, maybe we do something like the one social media tip real estate one secret social media video tip that real estate. Oh, that's too long, but something about we'll take one of these tips and we will amp it up. But I'm going to ask you because you're the expert. So
yeah, it's like the one social media tip you need to know about to become a millionaire or something like that. Because everybody wants to make $1 million in this business, right? When I interview new agents, I'm like, what's your first goal, your goal? They're like six. Everyone says 6 figures. I want to make 100,000. I'm like, how much have you made? They're like 40. I'm like, cool, let's work on it. Right. But like everybody wants to make 6 figures. Then once they get into real estate and they're doing well, they want to make $1 million. They want to make $1 million in GCI. Like that's what our goal is. And, listening to DJ's podcast and, top agent interviews and all of this, like, hopefully I provided some value to you guys and we can make it happen.
Yeah. I want to thank all of our listeners. I want to thank everyone on behalf of our listeners. We want to thank Rachel Adams Lee for coming on yet again, providing so much insane value to our audience. I want to thank our sponsors, by the way. They're the reason we can keep doing the show. So please check out their services. We only bring on, different sponsors who can help you with your real estate practice. And also want to thank our audience on behalf of Rachel and myself. Thank you for making it to the end of the episode. The best way that you can help us, first, I want you to go to Instagram and follow Rachel Adams Lee. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. Go to rachelsfreebies.com. There's all sorts of contact info there. And on Rachel's Instagram, you'll see she has links. She has a link to get you to all of her content as well in the description and in her bio, rather. And I also want to tell you how you can thank us. The best way you can help us grow, tell a friend. Think of one other realtor in your office that needs to hear this. Oh, by the way, before we wrap up, before I tell that, if you are in the Northern California area and you're an agent and you're like, wow, I am not getting this kind of support, service, mentoring, coaching from my own brokerage, from my team, from the people I work with, probably reach out to Rachel. She's an unbelievable agent. She has a great team. You've heard about all of the ways she helps her team. Reach out to her. She might be a good fit for you. So you can obviously find her there. And also, if you're an agent in another area and you have clients that move in and out of Northern California, well, guess what? Now you have a referral partner. Reach out to Rachel and say, hey, let's connect. Because Rachel also has people that move out of her area and they move to other areas and they retire somewhere. Well, if you're one of those feeder or I guess feedee spots, whatever the term is called. If people are retiring to your place, you need to reach out to her and make a connection because she's not going to refer unless you're really, really good, but she needs to learn about you first. So reach out to her and start that relationship.
Yep. Yeah. And then one thing we chatted about is if you are wanting to build a business through social and you're like, I want to do this, but I just feel stuck. I do something called a 50 content call where it's an hour-long call. The first thing we're doing is we're gonna sit down and we're gonna audit your content. So I'm gonna see what is working, what isn't working. Then we're gonna optimize your bio for the current algorithm that we're in. And then I interview you. And together we create 50 pieces of content. I create it for you. I give you the hook, the post, the caption, exactly what you're gonna do. Like your call to action, everything is done for you and it's custom around you and your business. So like it is a plug and play system if you want to build a business through social. And then at the end, we set up your stand store together. So like truly, if you guys need help in this space and you want to build through social, like I'm super down to help.
Where do they go to sign up for that?
They can go to Instagram or Facebook and they can message me like 50 content and then I'll send them the link.
Amazing. And also leave a review for us. And tell a friend. Whatever podcast app you're listening to us on right now, let them know what you think of the show. That helps us. And think of one other agent in your office that could benefit from this. All agents can, so you can send this to everybody. That helps us out tremendously, gets us in front of more audience members and hopefully more subscribers. Thank you to Rachel Adams Lee. Once again, unbelievable. She crushed it, knocked it out of the park. She's pregnant. She's a mom. She's running a team. She's running other businesses as well. And she made time for us. So we love you. We thank you. And on behalf of Rachel and myself, we will see everybody on the next episode. Thanks.